Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
Stuart.
Alright there.
And Darren.
Alright.
So today, obviously, the main topic of discussion is going to be the Neil Lennon situation, or whatever you want to call it. And with the reports coming out that Neil Lennon won't manage Hibs again, we're asking, who next? We'll then look back at Hibs' 3-1 win over St Mirren and finish up with a transfer update. Kicking it off with the Neil Lennon situation. At the time of recording, there has been no statement from the club other than the one about Eddie May and, is it Grant Murray? Is that his name? Aye, taking the game against St Mirren. Sure, starting with yourself, what's your opinion on the fact that the club have been so quiet?
Well, it's just Hibs, isn't it? We do that all the time. It could be a good thing, bad thing. But it's always the same with signings. We always keep quiet. We're always, we never go spouting off to the media or to fans and whatever. I think and especially this case, it has to be kept quiet. And I think even the players are being told, because with David Gray coming out saying that he didn't realise anything had happened until he seen it on the TV, which is I don't think is correct. He's a captain. It'll be because of he could go to court. He's been suspended. Anything leaks, before you know it, it could be a court case. So I would imagine that the Hibs board have spoke to all the players and said that they cannot talk to anybody or put anything on social media.
Sky Sports News are reporting that Hibs will remain silent until a settlement is reached. So it looks like it's going to be a waiting game until that severance package is agreed. Hopefully by the time folk are listening to this tomorrow, in terms of Wednesday, that's all sorted out. Dave, what's your reaction to the news that Neil Lennon definitely won't be managing Hibs again?
Well, it doesn't come as a surprise because everything that happened at the weekend, Friday night. So kind of expected. You couldn't see a way back, put it that way, especially with Neil Lennon's character. Like, you highly doubted, and Chris Sutton actually touched on that as well. Like, quite a stubborn guy. Like, if he goes against somebody and somebody goes against him, then that's it. That's the relationship's dead. So there was no going to be any fixing it. So it was just all about trying to get it turned around quickly and just cut ties. And it's a bit of a shame the way it's ended, but oh well.
Thing is, if it happened in your work, I know what I would do. I would be like Lennon. I wouldn't go back. There's no danger. No one would think that there's players. No. If I'm talking about staff here instead of players, and you're the manager and you get suspended because of somebody's, whatever happens, would you go back? It would never be the same. Never.
And one of the names that's been linked with the position quite heavily has been Gordon Strachan. However, Sky sources have said that they do not believe Strachan's interested in the job. Although there is the tie with Petrie obviously being at the SFA and Strachan's time at Scotland, they've said that it's not something that is going to be happening. Darren, what's your reaction to the rumours anyway, or the reporting from Sky News that the former Scotland manager Gordon Strachan won't be taking the job?
I'm kind of glad.
Yeah? Did you not when you fancied?
No, not really.
Yeah,
what has he really done for Scotland when he was the manager? Nothing really.
No, I'd agree with that. He's, I think, he should have started playing Lee Griffiths a lot sooner. And his comments after Scotland will never be a success because they don't produce tall enough players. That's a stupid thing to say, I think. So yeah. Other things coming out from Sky News today, they've been the only people we can kind of get information about this topic at the moment. The structure will be staying the same at the club. So basically, although the title of this podcast is about a new manager, it's going to be a new head coach. So I have slightly twisted that. Stuart, what's your reaction to the structure staying the same and a new head coach going to be appointed rather than a manager and somebody wanting to come in and change the structure?
Gav, I'm maybe old school, but manager, head coach, they're the same, are they not? Of course,
I think it's in terms of George Craig's doing a sort of director of football sort of job.
Well, he's technical director.
George
Craig is there to oversee finding players and then passing it on to the analysts and doing all that stuff, but I get this with Man United and all these top teams that, you're not a manager, he's the head coach. He's still sitting in the same seat at the dugout. He's still naming the team. So, what are you? I think it's a 21st century name for a manager.
I think it's taking a lot of the responsibilities away because, I mean, maybe not a lot, that's maybe the wrong way to phrase it, but I mean, I think I heard an interview with Robbie Nielsen about a year ago, and he was talking about how he went from the head coach role to a manager's role at MK Dons, and how he, his family were still up in Scotland and stuff, so he was there himself and he was doing everything. He was, there until 9-10 o'clock at night in his office. And it was such a change for him, whereas other things had been done in terms of like new contracts and agreeing fees with clubs for players and stuff had been done by other people when he was at Hearts, and that support network was gone. And I think he said that was one of the reasons that he struggled when he went into MK Dons.
Most teams nowadays, I would say 95% of them, no, I would even say 100% of the big teams, I'm talking about, and Hibs are classed as a big team, but I'm talking about, from the English Premiership, all the SPL teams, I would imagine that every one of them have got the backroom staff that deals in all the contracts and whatever. I deal with contracts for the football players, but they've got people that oversee all that. I think it's just a 21st century, new addition to football. You're a football coach now rather than just a manager.
Dave, we could probably get into the ins and outs of head coach versus manager role for the whole podcast, but do you think there's any managers that might be put off having to come in and work in a certain structure, or do you think the majority of people that are going to be linked with the Hibs job are going to be willing to take it regardless?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I've not really seen a lot of high-profile names linked to the job that I think wouldn't take it. I've not kind of sometimes you kind of see links and you're like, oh, it's kind of unrealistic. Everybody that I've kind of seen are putting their name forward in that. What I do think though is that I think that the board will go with somebody who is a bit more of a yes man and possibly less confrontational. Because look how it's worked with Lenny.
Going back, let's even say go back 15, 20 years. How many yes man have we had in that job, and how bad is it? Because it's the board that always call the shots, and it's a couple of managers that are not the yes men that get either pushed aside and whatever. Because John Collins wasn't a yes man, and he got pushed aside because he was wanting the best for his team, and the team went against him. So he wasn't a yes man. And then you're talking about Lennon.
Dave, you mentioned the fact that we've not been linked with any high-profile managers. Are you not buying into Stephen saying he's wanting Sam Allardyce for the job?
No, probably no. To be fair, I'll take Big Sam. I think Big Sam's the only England manager I've ever liked, and he was only an England manager for one game, but I just think he's... I don't know, it's
boring though. I mean, he might do differently when up here because he had Bolton playing nice at one point. But anyway, we'll not get stuck into that because he's never going to happen. And the last thing that came out of the Sky Sports News was that they're still trying to sign players. Darren, what is that good news to you? The fact that we're still trying to sign players this close to the transfer deadline?
Pretty much, but I still think we need a goal poacher. And that was to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean,
hopefully, we could briefly get out. Well, we're going to do transfers at the end in terms of what we need. But yeah, I think it's good that the club are still actively on that. So this bit, we're going to talk about who we want next. I've got a list of names here that I've kind of pulled together from things I've seen in terms of ridiculous rumours and things that are maybe a bit more realistic. So we'll go through some... starting with the one which, I mean, I know we talked about this one the other night, but just in case anybody's had more time to reflect on it, and Darren and Stuart haven't commented on it yet, Alan Stubbs has been linked with a return. Stuart, starting with yourself, what would be your reaction to Stubbs coming back?
No way.
No?
He's had his term. I don't like a manager or a player really going back. I didn't mind a player's not too bad, but I don't like a manager going back to manage the team, coming back and
4 games away from Roscoe, including Wraith Rovers at home to win the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, but Stubbs, I like him. Don't get me wrong. I can listen to him all night on the TV or the radio or whatever. He's a lovely guy, but do we want to ruin, him being up there on the top shelf because he won the Scottish Cup?
The next name I've got here, Dave, what's your thoughts to Lee Clark, the former Kilmarnock manager, saying he's very interested in the post?
Aye, but he can be interested if he wants. I'm interested in it. No, I mean, fair play to the boy, but no, not a chance.
Next name I've got here, Darren, what's your thoughts on former Crystal Palace, West Brom, all the other jobs he's had? Alan Pardew has been mentioned. I don't know how realistic that one is. That's probably quite far out there, but what's your thoughts on Alan Pardew?
Bit ambitious.
A bit ambitious, I'd agree with that.
I mean, if he did end up with it, then fair play to the guy. I mean, he could do a decent job with us.
We could have a lot of fun with that gif of him dancing at the FA Cup final.
But on how much he can take us is we will need to know.
Stuart, what's your thoughts on the rumours of the Scotland under-21 manager, Gemmell?
Yeah, he's proved that he's good. He's a good man manager with the 21s. They play lovely football, but you've got to remember he's not proved it at club level. Totally different getting, maybe how many games a season? 6 games a season and getting guys together. He's not at the forefront, getting a bad result and then having to face the media. He's not in that high intensity of, and then fans not liking you. He's not in that position at Scotland, so he's not under a lot of pressure. But I wouldn't rule him out. He must know his football.
Dave, the next one we've got here is Tommy Wright. Maybe a bit more realistic in terms of, he's been at St Johnstone for a while. He's done a lot at St Johnstone. He's won the Scottish Cup with St Johnstone. Might be time for him to look at something else. Would Tommy Wright interest you, Dave?
I'm not massive on the type of football that St Johnstone play. If I'm being honest with you, I think it would turn quite ugly. I don't know if he's just playing that type of football because he's St Johnstone manager and obviously they'd be a better standard of player available to him at Hibs, but I don't know if I'm got a false sense of entitlement that we should always be playing good football and
No, I think that's the kind of club we are, and I'd agree with that. So now I think if the new manager has to come in and kind of agree to that philosophy of playing attractive attacking football that the fans want to see. They've spoken about that at previous AGMs. Okay, the next two here, I want to quickly give my 2 pence on because I get bored being host and I like to chat sometimes, is Gary Rowett and Paul Clement. A lot of people have laughed when these two have been mentioned, but you look at Steve Clark going to Kilmarnock, nobody thought that would happen. They're 2 managers that their reputations aren't at the highest point, but they're definitely good coaches who have done a lot of good things in the past. Paul Clement, at Chelsea and Bayern Munich for a good reason, and Gary Rowett done well at Burton and then at Birmingham. So both really good coaches, who modern coaches as well, young guys who could really do well at Hibs, build up their reputation, and then be looking to go elsewhere. Something like Steve Clarkson at Kilmarnock at the moment, obviously being linked with other jobs like Celtic and Rangers and stuff every time that comes up. But Gary Rowett and Paul Clement, what's your kind of reactions to that one? I'll kind of throw it out to you guys quickly. Stuart, what's your thoughts first?
I think they've got more to work with down south. I think they could get better teams, down there and more money, and a better challenge for them. And these guys have, they've been about, and you could say that, and then one hand you can say they might be looking at, Steven Gerrard's changed the SPL just now. Because if you think back, way back when Graham Souness came up and took Rangers in the 80s, he changed the philosophy, English players coming up to Scotland. And that's what Gerrard's done. He's changed the outlook, and everybody's interested in the SPL now. So you never know. There might be these managers down there and say, well, if Gerrard can go up, I'll go up. So you never know. But,
Yeah.
It's a good shout. Good shout.
So the other one I'd mentioned there was Steve Clarke. Darren, what's your thoughts on Steve Clarke? Do you think with Kilmarnock doing so well in the league just now that's now too unrealistic, especially with him being a Kilmarnock fan as well? Do you think when he does leave Kilmarnock it'll be for Celtic and Rangers, or do you think Hibs could put to a good package for him and try and get him in?
I mean, I think it's a good show, but if he comes to us, then, but I don't think he will.
Do you think he's too happy at Kilmarnock? Yeah.
I think he'll stay at Kilmarnock.
Okay, so the last couple of things I've got here, just some other names we'll kind of fire through and shout out just sort of mention any of them if they take any interest to you. Steve Evans, former Leeds and I can't remember the other team he was at, but he's just been sacked recently. The Australian managers said his interest in it, obviously with McLaren, Milligan and Boyle here. Talking Boys suggested John Kennedy, the first team coach at Celtic. Ian Murray doing a decent job just now at Airdrie. A lot of people have mentioned Michael Stewart just for the banter against Hearts. And I also saw somebody mention Murray Minter 75. So I thought I'd write that name down as well. So any names out there sort of sticking out to you?
Yep.
Murray Minter.
Right. Gav,
Stuart?
you know what? I cannot. I hope I didn't miss it what you said there, but I've never seen Michael O'Neill's name being put forward. He's Hibs. He's a Hibs man now, and he's always been a Hibs. We bumped. I always remember me and Adele bumped into him in Edinburgh, and we were speaking to him for a wee while about the Hibs and whatever, and he loves Hibs. I don't know. I don't understand why he's never been.
Do you think he would leave the Northern Ireland post though? He's still a Northern Ireland manager.
I thought he got the sack.
No, I don't think so. Because he was linked with Scotland and then he stayed on.
Did he? Oh, I thought that's probably why he's not been.
That's probably why he's not been.
You know what? I thought he got the sack.
No, he's still there.
There you go. Right. Okay. Well, that's maybe why he's never been. Well, I would still have him.
Still try and get him. Fair enough. He might.
I really would. I would still have him because that. I think he's brilliant. Really nice, Jamie guy.
Dave, any other names that I've sort of mentioned, or any more that can come to your mind that you can think of?
No, that list that you've just read out there now, just put that in the bin, mate. Just scrunch it up, chuck it in the bin. Nah, it doesn't. Nah. And if any of the names are even anywhere near that boardroom table, there's a problem. We need to be more ambitious.
Gary and Paul Clement.
Aye, Paul Clement, that's fine. I'm talking about your wee list there at the end that started with Steve second Evans. That guy. No. Absolutely no.
I don't rate that guy.
No, neither do I. He's just everything about him. I just don't like him. And it's totally unfair because I've never spent longer than 2 seconds on my TV screen because I just don't like just everything about him. The only thing I would say in the whole manager thing, right, is it's like all the progress of the last couple of years needs to be saved. It's like when you do an important piece of work in the computer and then you don't want to be doing it for like a day solid and then you turn off your computer and then you turn the computer back on and it's all away. I'm just hoping that at some point along the road we can save the last few years and we didn't drop season tickets. We need to try and know that all the hard work go to waste. That's the thing that the board needs to get on top of the most.
Yeah, quite right, Dave.
I think there's a lot of anger with the fans just now, and I think they need an exciting manager that's going to get the fans back on board and continues the good work.
We need an A1 listed manager coming in because I'll tell you now, Lennon was when he signed for us. Nobody could believe it because Lennon was up there, and if we don't get anybody, if the board take somebody below Lennon, Dave's just hit the nail on the head. There'll be guys saying, I'm not going to watch them again now until they get rid of him. You know, like if we make a Duff signing as a manager, like, you know, any of these guys that you mentioned.
Colin Calderwood.
Oh, no, don't.
No,
But,
no thanks.
It's true what Dave said.
Butcher.
We have built up so many season books where, you know, we were no far behind Hearts. Have always had good season books sold at the start of the season, and we were up there this season. And then what's happened? This could really come back and bite our backsides. So we've got, or the board have got to get the right guy in, and if they don't, Dave said that we could go back the way again.
I have to say, Dave, you're getting quite good at your analogies. You've had your Fiat 500 one, and now you've had your saving the document one. These are good. Right.
That's the way my mind works.
Next up, we're going to be talking about the St Mirren game and finishing with a transfer update. Just a reminder, we have partnered with FansBet, the company that give 50% of their net profits back to fanzines such as ourselves. You guys get enhanced Hibs markets and enhanced DACAs. Sign up to FansBet today and remember to select Hibs Talk when you sign up to support the podcast. So Eddie May and Grant Murray took charge of the St Mirren game. Obviously a lot of issues going into it, fair to say the least, but I don't know if it was with the ongoing issues. It wasn't a great performance from Hibs in the first half, I think it's fair to say. And not a lot happened. I mean, I like to bring some notes together from Sports Scene, and at 57 seconds, Sports Scene went to the second half. So I think that kind of sums up how much happened in the first half. Do you think, Stuart, starting with yourself, do you think nerves and the ongoing situation played a part in the performance in the first half?
Definitely, but I just think, I sat in the house, watched it. I wanted to see how they react. You know, the actual players reacted, and it's a hard ground to go to play. You know, so, and it was windy and whatever. You know, so it wasn't because the conditions weren't that great. But watching that first 45 minutes, I thought it was like a Bobby Williamson game way back years ago. It was absolutely shocking. I was just about chucking things at the TV. Honestly, it was the worst 45 I've seen Hibs play. And when you can think about back to the start of the season, when we were playing in Europe, and then we started playing the start of the season, you know, and how we were passing that ball about Easter Road, and it was fine football to watch and ever. And then you watch that on Sunday. It was absolutely shocking. And I don't know what Eddie May says to him. You know, he must have just said... Actually, to be honest, I think he would have probably let that go and let them talk amongst themselves.
Shaw came on at halftime. Obviously, Stuart just mentioned the halftime team talk as well. But Dave, do you think Shaw played a big, massive part in turning it around?
Yeah, no, totally. I think the thing that turned it round was actually Horgan getting injured. That's the reason Shaw came on, and Horgan was humpty and we had to change our shape. I actually think it might... Fair play, we did turn it around, but I think the Horgan injury actually made Eddie May and Murray maybe look a wee bit more like geniuses than they actually were, because that's what made us change shape. We were playing with wingers for the sake of Hayne wingers.
Dave, to be honest, mate, it was crying out for two up top. I feel sorry for that. I feel sorry for that Cumberry, for Flo Cumberry. He has to run, do doggies here, there, everywhere. And the laddie, any player, you know, they can be fit as that, but they can't keep on doing that. You can't expect a player to run over there, right? And the midfield were doing nothing until the second half, because then they had two, one coming short and one playing it into the, you know, over their shoulder or into the corner, you know, so doing the channels. That's what changed the whole thing, as you say. It maybe looked better for May and Eddie May and Grant, but it was like, you know, they needed two up top. We were chasing a game and we were playing with one guy.
Shaw did come on and he received the ball from Malin. Malin got himself into a bit of space and played the ball through. Darren, first off, what was your thoughts on Shaw's finish for the goal?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Took him a lot of confidence, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, for a young guy at such a young age to come on and change the game for us. That kind of says it. Says a lot what's happening at Hibs at the moment.
Aye, taking youngsters to kind of get us through. And Dave Mallon, you know, was got a decent bit of play to get himself into that bit of space to begin with. And then the ball that he played through to Shaw, do you feel that we've not seen that sort of forward passing into the box from Mallon enough this season? Dave?
Yeah, aye, no, totally. It came out of nowhere, like because he was such a stark contrast for his first half performance, and like you said, the rest of his season. But it was a good ball, and it's just exactly what we need from him, and not just a guy who can hit a dead ball. Like, then we need to see that more.
And then McGregor got the second to put us in front. But Stuart, it sounds like we're having this big sort of Ollie Shaw love in here, but Stuart, what was your thoughts on Ollie Shaw getting up so high and winning the ball? And do you feel that he could have scored there?
Well, he beat the keeper, and it was a great header off the line from the defender. So that could have went easily in the goal for his second. I've always rated him, and he showed it against Celtic in the was it a semi-final? Was it the semi-final at Hampden? I can't remember. I think it was a semi or the final.
It's the 4-2 game semi-final.
Yeah,
right.
Semi-final. I thought he was at right away when he played that game. Fantastic plays on the shoulder. He's a good centre forward. But getting back to St Mirren, what a leap! And of course, big man McGregor always there, and rattled in the top of the net. But Ollie Shaw had it was unlucky. He could have had two.
And Darren, you've spoken in the past about how you prefer Marciano to Bogdan. Obviously, Bogdan's injured at the moment, and Marciano's in. There was a save that I didn't even. First time I seen it, I didn't realise how good it was. I don't know how he got down and got a hand to that sensational save. What was your overall thoughts on Marciano's performance? You were on a couple of weeks ago talking about how much Marciano compared to Bogdan.
It was great. I mean, no offense, no credit on his side in Bogdan, but if Bogdan was in goals, I don't think he would have got down to that save. Not in a hope in hell.
And then a bit of a scrappy clearance afterwards, but done the job. Stuart, any additional thoughts on Marciano?
There was a number of them. It could have been man of the match second half, because I wouldn't have gave anybody it for the first half. But Marciano, he had two good saves, and they were all like he's seen it in the last second, and it was all below his feet. Diving, but sort of below his feet when he had to go for it. And I thought if it wasn't for him, we would have actually drew or got beat.
And the third goal, counter attack, Shaw sort of taking it down the left hand side, quite composed, and then slips it to Mallon. Gets it past quite a couple of defenders to get to Mallon. So it's a good ball. Dave, what was your thoughts on Shaw's composure and then Mallon's finish?
It was all about the ball for Davy Gray. I can't believe he didn't introduce that with the ball for Davy Gray.
Well, Davy Gray's next on my list. I was going to talk about that, but I guess, okay, the ball for Davy Gray. Talk about Davy Gray then, on you go.
That led to the goal. Obviously, Shaw took it down well. Nice composed, just lays it off to Mallon, and completes a good second half performance.
You're desperate to talk about David Gray, so I'll let you go about David Gray. Whittaker's been playing the last few games at right back, Dave. You may have spoken about this at length, and you can maybe say about David Gray with the St Mirren goal potentially being at fault. But in terms of going forward, how did you feel it was having David Gray at right back?
It's refreshing. Bombs forwards, crosses into the box, and gives you an attacking threat at corners. Like a wee bit of belief when you see his wee baldy napper in the box. You're like, oh yes, like it just feels like something can happen. It gives a bit of belief and lift.
Well, he's playing a winger that we've not got there now, because he's the only one that usually gets the ball to the back to the byline and crosses it over, because we've not got anybody else in that team at the moment, because Boyle's out injured and he's the only guy that does it. And for him, because I don't know what age he is now, but I tell you what, he's still got some engine in him. He's
And,
one of the best players at the club, by far.
And finally, the last person I was just going to mention was Canberra. Obviously, a lot Canberra being mentioned in the news, shall we say, to try and not. Stuart, what's your thoughts on Canberra's performance? How do you feel he done with everything kind of going on?
Well, he still see. I think you need to talk about Canberra. I think you need analysis by Sky. You know how they've got the different cameras in Scotland.
I don't know. I think the analysis for Hibs Talk podcast is all right myself.
Aye, I know, aye. But you know what I'm saying? You know, Scotland, we've got 3 or 4 cameras, you know, and we get shit coverage, right? But if that was down in England and they've got 50 cameras on the park, and they could show you all about the centre forward, i.e. Canberra, he does that much work off the ball that a lot of fans didn't give him credit for. And I feel sorry for the lad sometimes, because he does do work. And there's been times I've been saying, come on, son, come on, like that. And then bang, how many times has he scored near the end? He scored goals, you know, especially at the start of the season.
I think that's one of the things that the reasons him and McLaren worked so well was he would do those off the ball running and create space for McLaren to run into. That's why they work so well as a partnership. And we've only
but he
really
can't
seen
do it on his own, Gav. That's the thing.
Aye.
But you know, a centre forward, you ask any centre forward, they hate playing up top on their own because they've got to make their own luck. And I'm telling you, it has to be a luck. Or you've got a fantastic midfield behind you, you know, like your Chelsea's and your Man United, to play these balls through that, what Dave was saying earlier, that Mallin's got to do. But he's not been doing that, and we've not got Scott Allen yet. Scott Allen was doing it last season. But we've not got anybody that's been just playing that wee ball. Because you watch Canberra, he plays off the shoulder all the time. He gets away. And when he gets away, he done it at Celtic, that goal at Parkhead. How good was that goal? You know,
Dave, with another striker up beside him, and not potentially, with a new manager in the dugout, do you feel that we'll see a much different Canberra second half of the season?
Yeah, well, we've kind of got to. Otherwise, his time will be up because all eyes are on him. So everybody wants to see like a change in him, like performance-wise. But that will come if he's got another striker with him up top. Do you like him, Dave? I like him, aye.
Good. Oh, that's fine. I thought it was me. I thought it was me. It was just getting the, you know. I really do.
No, I like him. As soon as Shaw came on, you've seen him because he sometimes drops deep for the ball, cods the ball up, plays it back to midfield, and the midfield's got nobody to play it to because Canberra's standing right next to him. So then it becomes dead pedestrian. We pass the ball side to side, then we didn't break down teams and wonder why 65% of the ball.
See, do you not think, Dave, that why can 4 of us round the telephone here talking away? How can we see it and there's guys getting paid £50 and they've been in the game years and they can't see it? That's what annoys me. And they play 4-5-1 or whatever, they want to play diamonds and all that shit, but one guy up top. We can see it, all the fans can see it, or most of the fans can see it, but the manager and another, it's on the coaching staff, can't see it. That's what I just cannot understand with regards to anything like that. How can they not see it?
I don't know. The only thing I can think is that it works really well in training or something. That just doesn't make any sense to me either. But
who are you playing? You're usually playing the 20s, or you're playing the opposite side and there's no contact.
Or he's running against Whittaker.
Right, before we finish up with a sort of quick update on where we are with transfers at the moment, myself and Dave were at the fans representatives meeting last night. Just a quick update on where things are at the moment. They're talking about the Celtic tickets. There was a server down. It's an issue with Ticketmaster. And obviously somebody mentioned loyalty points because somebody always does. The fans rep nominations, the deadline is Wednesday the 30th, when majority of you be listening to this podcast. So if you've got somebody you want to nominate, do it by today and they will be told on the Thursday that they've been nominated, and the process will start from there. Something myself and Dave talked about was the possibility of maybe getting some of the nominees or all the nominees on the pod over a space of time so they can kind of let people know who they are, why they're Hibs fans, all that sort of stuff, and then why people should vote for them. A couple of other things. The main two topics were all about the changing the behind the goals and the change in the decor of the stadium, try to give it a paint job, spruce it up and things like that. So yeah, I mean, the next, if anybody's got any ideas on these sort of things, the next meeting is Monday the 25th of February, so at 6:30, and it's in the West Stand, so just rock up, come in, and Wednesday 25th of February we'll do another announcement closer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, finishing up with a transfer window update sort of thing. So there's 4 players' names I've got here. The one that we've been linked with is Mark McNulty. Rumours that he's transfer listed and that Hibs have had a couple of bids rejected. Don't know what to believe, whether Hibs are going for a loan or whether the transfer offers that have been rejected. But in one way or another, it seems that Hibs are trying to get Mark McNulty in. I do believe he is a Hibs supporter. Obviously, came through at Livingston. I'm sure he was on the books as a youngster at Hibs and got told it was too wee. We've heard that too many times. Stuart, what's your reactions to being linked to Mark McNulty? Is he somebody that excites you?
Well, he's the type of player that'll play like say McLaren. He's that type of player, and he's one of these players that's in your face and a defender's face all the time. He keeps on doing it. Getting back to what the deal would be now, Hibs. It's been on Twitter and all that saying that it's been two. They've offered 2 different deals and Reading's knocked it back. But he only went to Reading start of the season, so I would imagine he must have at least got a 2-year deal. Mm-hmm. So I can't see Hibs being able to buy him, because a 2-year buying that, because Reading must have paid money for him. So I'm just, because he was at Coventry, I think, when he banged the goals in, and that's when
he's been at Portsmouth, I'm sure, as well, on loan.
Aye, but he had a fantastic season with Coventry, either on loan or playing for them. So really, he'll be on a good wage down in Reading, and this is only halfway through his first contract, I think it is. So I think it must be a loan deal. And that's why it's taken a wee while, because it'll be about paying his wage. I don't think Hibs will be, I've got the money to pay money to Reading. I don't think so. So it must be on a loan deal.
We'll see. But we'll wait and see what comes out. Hopefully we do get.
But getting back to your guests, good player.
Aye.
Good player.
Aye. Next one I've got a bit of information here on is obviously, Darren, you've mentioned a player like Jason Cummins before. The Peterborough, what is it his job is? I should get this right. Fry, whoever I don't know if it's Peterborough manager, chairman or whatever, but he's come out and said Jason has a problem. MK Dons and Lincoln have shown interest, but he doesn't want to drop into League Two. There are Scottish clubs chasing him, but Jason doesn't want to move back up there, even though he's spending all of his time up there at the moment. So, Darren, do you just feel it's a player in that sort of mould that they're going after, or are you a bit gutted to hear that Jason? Are you gutted to hear that Jason Cummins isn't coming to Hibs? Specifically, Jason Cummins.
To be fair, I'm not really fussed.
Do you think there's too much baggage that comes with Cummins?
Too much.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to move on to the next one. Yeah. The next one, obviously, we've got here is Scott Allen. Dave, what's your thoughts?
Who?
I know.
I've not really thought that much about him, mate, to be honest with you. If we get him, I'm not bothered. Like, play it cool and that. Nah. We need to get him in the door now. He will not be.
Do you feel it's a move that would get the fans back on board?
Aye.
Or 99% of them.
99.9% now. But no, totally would. It needs to happen. He wouldn't be fit enough to play Aberdeen anyway, you wouldn't think, because he's not been playing. But just get him in, and even just him coming out the tunnel before the Aberdeen game, just a wee wave to all the fans and that, and be like, I'll be back soon. Don't you worry, boys. You don't need to wait till the summer. That's all I want. A boy can dream.
And last one here, Stuart. You mentioned earlier on that we need a winger. one of the names that we have been linked with, and Lennon spoke quite openly about, was Lewis Morgan. Today he agreed a deal with Sunderland. Are you a bit gutted about that one, or do you feel that there's other options out there that would be chased?
Sick and tired of getting all these Celtic players. Nah, he's okay, the guy, but he's fine, but no big deal. Never had him, so it's no big loss. And I'm not saying he's never really done much for Celtic, has he? So the Celtic player, the young boy that I would have loved on loan, but he'll end up playing a lot for Celtic, is that I can't remember his name.
Johnson.
That guy's class. He's unbelievable.
Game time.
Aye. What he done when he came on at Hibs were all over Celtic when we beat them at Easter Road, and then he came on and he was unbelievable. They played him up top. Aye. They played him a sort of number 10, but they never had a centre forward. Weird one, but he's class. He'll go far, that young boy.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there. Like I say, we'll do another podcast either Thursday night or Friday, kind of doing a transfer update, sort of transfer roundup, that sort of thing. So we'll finish it up there. So Stuart, thank you very much for taking the time to come on.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks again, Dave, as always.
No worries, mate.
And thanks, Darren.
No worries.
Okay, cheers, folks. Thank you for listening to the end, folks. Follow us on the likes of Twitter at HFC Talk. And I'm going to my bed. Good night.
Pass me another.